Welcome to the August 19th, 2026 Umatilla County Board of Commissioners regularly scheduled meeting. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Just a quick reminder, this is a public meeting and being recorded and also attended virtually. So I do want to mention that if there are any public comments on anything that is not on the agenda, we'll address those comments before we get into the business items. But at this time, I would ask for any introductory comments from the commissioners.
I don't have anything.
Not for me.
The only thing I have is a great Umatilla County Fair and Farm City Pro Rodeo, and I appreciate all of the volunteers, sponsors, and vendors that made it a huge success, along with all of the support staff from the county, the sheriff's office, all of the support that it takes for those type of events to happen. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion on the minutes from July 6th, July 13th, July 15th, and July 17th.
Move approval.
I do have a comment. What about August 3rd?
There also should be August 3rd as well.
Okay.
Perfect. Commission consideration.
Oh, July 17th and August 3rd.
Yeah.
August 3rd. Okay.
Okay. Second.
Been a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Did you have a
Aye.
comment?
I did. I said August 3rd.
Oh,
was
okay.
missing. Yeah.
Been a motion and a second, and we approved it. Did we approve? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is, are there any additions?
I think I know what was happening this morning. You? No.
Yep. Any other items? Commissioner, none? Okay. Public input and recognition of visitors. Anyone? No? Okay. Business items. We'll start with a public hearing, so we'll go out of our regular scheduled meeting, go into a public hearing. This public hearing is for a consideration of a transportation update amendment, and this is the second hearing. So, Megan?
Did you have your opening statement to read?
No, I don't. Not in front of me.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioners. Megan Joshowski, Planning Division Manager. The county has been working for a few years now on an update for our transportation system plan. We received a Transportation Growth Management or TTM grant to complete this process, and we've been working with Kittleson and Associates to conduct the update. So this is a post-acknowledgement plan amendment to our comprehensive plan and to our development code in order to implement the updated transportation system plan. Our current TSP was last adopted in 2002, and they're supposed to be 20-year guiding documents. So that's why we've been working on it for a few years. We're a few years past that mark. It's now 2026, but the goal is for this plan to last us for the next. Kittleson has proposed a few additions to the TSP documents, including proposed amendments to the comprehensive plan, which includes repealing Chapter 15 and replacing with transportation goals and objectives, to amend several findings and policies within Chapters 12, which is the economy, 14, which is public facilities and services, and 17, which is urbanization. Amendments to the Umatilla County Development Code include our definition section, access management and street connectivity, traffic impact study, pedestrian access and circulation, off-street parking requirements, improvement agreements, creation of roads, easements, and right-of-way standards, compliance with the comprehensive plan, conditions to amendment, and public notices. The criteria of approval to amend the county's comprehensive plan and development code are found in PBC 152750 through 152755. Also applicable are statewide planning goals 1 through 14, the Oregon Transportation Planning Rule, and the county's comprehensive plan policy. Notice of this request and public hearings was mailed to public agencies and cities within Umatilla County on July 13th. Notice was also published in the East Oregonian on July 8th, notifying the public of the proposed amendments. Included in the board packets are the preliminary findings of fact, proposed comprehensive plan text amendment, and the proposed text amendments to the county development code. Also included is volume 1 of the proposed transportation system plan and the public engagement summary. I included the public engagement summary because our staff did significant public engagement throughout last year. We combined, you may remember, the transportation system with our safety action plan, and so we were able to get a collection of comments, and so that was available for you in the packet. Volume 2 wasn't included in your packet, and it's mostly the technical appendices, which is traffic counts, crash analysis, and technical memos, and it was over 700 pages, so it's available online if you wanted to. The process of approval by the county involves review by the County Planning Commission with a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners. The Planning Commission voted unanimously with a 5-0 vote to recommend approval of the proposed TSP Comprehensive Plan Text Amendment and Development Code Text Amendment with the following changes. Number 1 is to add Project IO2 to the Intersection Improvement Project list. Project IO2 is the future interchange control interchange modification at the Interstate 84 and Oregon 207 interchange in Carmiston. This project was identified on the maps, but inadvertently omitted from the project table in the planning packets that's been added to the board. Item number 2 in the Planning Commission's recommendation was to add House Creek Bridge to the Tier 2 bridge project list. After discussion with Tom Fellows, this bridge replacement has been ordered and is anticipated to be replaced this winter. Adding to the Tier 2 list may be unnecessary because it's already on the list. Recommendation number 3 was to add Cemetery Bridge and Milton Freewater to the Tier 1 bridge project list. After discussion with Tom Fellows, he was expecting to obtain funding for this bridge replacement. However, because funding is still being pursued, it is being recommended to add replacing this bridge to the Tier 1 bridge project. The board must also hold a public hearing and decide whether or not to adopt the proposed amendments. The board may accept the Planning Commission's recommendation, modify the proposal, or deny the amendment request and make the findings. And the board's decision is final unless timely appealed to the Land Use Board of Appeals. We have Matt Hugart with Hills online with a brief PowerPoint presentation. Understanding this is something that you all have been working with last quarter.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, hi, good morning, everybody. Just a mic check. Am I coming through clearly?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. Yeah, thank you. Sorry I couldn't be with you there in person today, but my colleague Lakshmi Harandas is there, and I'd like to recognize some teaming partners who are also online today, Andrew Parrish and Megan Grispowski from MIG. They assisted in various aspects of this project, mostly on the code and implementation side of things. And then I don't believe she's on yet. I think she might be having some connectivity issues, but Cheryl Jarvis-Smith from ODOT, who is the ODOT grant manager, she assisted. There she is. There's Cheryl. I was just handed the mic. I'm just doing a quick introduction of our project team. So before I get into it, Cheryl, you want to introduce yourself and just say a few introductory words?
Hello, this is Cheryl Jarvis-Smith. I'm with the TGM program, which is a joint program of ODOT and DLCD, and we're helping provide resources for the county's TSP update. Glad to be here today.
Thank you. Okay, Megan, are you sharing the presentation? I don't know if I can't see it from my perspective.
Yeah, it's up in the room.
Okay, all right. Yeah, there it is. Thank you. Great. So I'll just ask to advance slides, so you can go ahead and advance slides. So. Next slide. Keep going. So, one more. Okay, thank you. Well, I know many in the room have seen this presentation before as part of our work session from a few months ago, but for the benefit of those who haven't or for new members in the audience, this is just a quick overview of the TSP effort itself. So just starting off, what is a transportation system plan, or typically acronymed as TSP? Essentially, it's just a long-range planning document that identifies the multimodal transportation network improvements over the next 20 years. They're forward-thinking projects, so they look at all aspects of the transportation system, focusing not only on roads and freight, but other modes of transportation that people rely upon, such as sidewalks and bicycle lanes and transit. So all those elements are included as part of this TSP update. Next slide. So why are we updating this now? Umatilla County's existing TSP was last updated or created in 2002. So it's well past its expiration date. No offense or shots trying to be taken to the last authors of the TSP, but it was completed at a time when a lot of the advancing technology that we have in place wasn't available. So a lot of the maps that are in that TSP are kind of static CAD-based maps that are hard to interpret and are hard to see as documented here in these images. And so one of the things that we tried to do with this update is advance everything into a GIS state so that staff and members of the public can more easily view and update those maps over time. We also overhauled and looked at a complete update to the transportation system plan, including all modes, and then looking at the county as a whole. A lot of the local partnering agencies have already updated their plans. So the county is in an enviable position where it can kind of come in at the very end and help tie all these planning efforts together. So that was, I think, a sort of a nice sort of opportunity for the county to go through this process at the tail end and make sure that everything is nicely tied together. So next slide. And one more slide, please. So the goals for the TSP update were kind of rooted at the early stages of the planning effort, and they're kind of focused on these 7 goals. So looking at the overall safety of the transportation system, what can we do to ensure that both local and regional and statewide transportation safety goals are met? We also look at what we call just general mobility. Is how can we improve the opportunities for people and freight and businesses to move throughout the county from one destination to another, or from the county to external origins and destinations. That's usually furthered by the goal of connectivity. So you improve mobility by improving connections, and improving connections, and you might think is just generally rooted in developing new roadways, but that's not only just new connections, but it's better connections. So improving the connections for freight or for products from the farms to the processing facilities, from the processing facilities to local and external connections or external sources. We do a lot of that by focusing on the community itself. And sometimes we use the word equity, but I think it's focused more on improving the community's needs and looking at how we can meet the needs for all members of the county, not just certain elements. Resilience. I think resilience is a new word that we look at these days, trying to ensure that the county system can weather the impacts of the changing climate, can weather the impacts of storms and snow events and ice events. What can we do to help that, help the transportation system overcome those seasonal challenges? And then strategic investment and collaboration is making sure that the plan itself is rooted in sort of an understanding that county resources are limited, So while if we had our druthers, we'd have lots of money for lots of projects. That's just not a reality. So we have to be very strategic in how we identify and prioritize our projects. And then lastly, I think there's an overall goal to just be very flexible with this plan and recognize that the transportation system is changing, and whatever we think it looks like today, more than likely in the span of a couple of years, it's going to look a lot different. So how can we allow this plan to be flexible to that change? In that previously identified sort of goal of moving a lot of our maps towards GIS will help the county and county staff advance and change this plan more easily over time. Next slide, please. So I'll turn this back over to Megan or Charlie or anyone on the county staff side, but a lot of the planning effort was rooted in a very specific and focused public engagement exercise. So Megan or Charlie, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, so our department, Charlie, Tierney, and I, and others who were able to help, we attended a lot of community events last year in order to get public feedback. And some of those are on the screen there. We also did other community events throughout the county. So in addition to county fair, we went to the Milton Free Water Safeway. We did a pop-up event over there during the week. We also did a pop-up over at Mission Market because several county roads are within the reservation. We captured that group, and Charlie also did a Saturday market over in Pilot Rock. So really diversified our public engagement events. We got a lot of good feedback, but some of the pretty consistent themes from folks that we heard were just, poor road conditions overall, needing more maintenance opportunities, more transit options, with more routes kind of into the rural areas during, the typical working hours or shift times. And then we also heard a lot about safety. So people sharing their concerns about driver behaviors like speeding, distracted driving, aggressive behavior. And then also some folks identified where semi-trucks were driving through residential. And then a cute little tidbit. So last week we had a booth over at County Fair for transit, and Charlie was approached by a mom and her daughter who remembered our table event from last year, and they thought it was super cool and asked, what was the outcome of the weekend. That was pretty cool and recent. Questions about public engagement?
I just pulled up the QR code and did a whatever you do on that, but there's all kinds of information on that QR code, and it's unbelievable. I thought the table was a huge hit at the fair. At one point on Saturday, I sat down there looking for a cool place to sit. I ended up working the booth for a while, so it was actually quite a bit of fun, and it made me have to think, and I got to play Jeopardy with a few of the kids, and so it was a really good booth, and I thought it was very well put together.
I thought it was well thought out.
Yeah,
I really liked
me
it.
too.
Great, back to you, Matt.
Nope, good job, Megan. Very good.
Yeah, great. No, we benefited greatly from a lot of those efforts and a lot of the feedback that we received, and you'll see that in the prioritization projects later on in this presentation. Next slide, please. So the actual TSP is the focus of these next several slides, and I'm not going to drill into the fine details here. I'm just going to hit on the highlights. But we tried to break the TSP up into kind of two chunks, if you will. The first chunk is just the element of what we call guiding the transportation network. And this particular map is an update of what we call the roadway jurisdiction map. So most TSPs these days have very clear and defined maps that help staff and members of the public do their job looking at and trying to identify how to break the transportation network down. So in this particular map, it's an updated version of who owns what in the county. So you can see what's an ODOT owned and maintained highway versus county roads versus CTUIR and other partnering agencies. So kind of just an informative map that typically you'll find in most modern TSPs. Next slide, please. This map is an updated county functional classification plan map. So for all county facilities and state highways, it shows how the county defines its system. So it breaks it down into different collectors and arterials. So the arterial system is essentially the state highway system, recognizing the importance of that kind of spinal regional connections that the state system provides. And then within each of the county roadways, further breaks them down into different classifications of collectors and local systems. This is just a very valuable map, and I give Megan and Charlie and other staff of the county a lot of credit for helping us get this cleaned up. It was very hard to interpret some of the previous TSP maps, and they spent a lot of hours helping us go through and get this line work updated. So hopefully the county will find a lot of benefit and use out of the efforts that went into this map here. Next slide. We also break things down into the sort of the modal system. So here's a classification of the freight system, so recognizing what the state focuses and prioritizes, and then how the county further utilizes that freight network. Just another guiding set of maps. Next slide. So most TSPs also include just sort of an understanding of the physical elements of the county system. So this is sort of a recognition of within those different collector classifications that the county recognizes what the sort of standard of construction looks like. So in all instances going forward, if and when the county builds new roadways, they would be built to one of these physical standards. More than likely, whenever the county upgrades or works with development to modernize sections of the county system, this is what the modernized expectations are when it comes to roadway widths, shoulder widths, and or the presence of sidewalks in certain situations. Any questions on the slides that I've presented here to date?
Matt, yeah.
Yes.
Real quick, on the 60-foot right-of-ways, a lot of stories, a lot of information out there right now with the added utility corridors, that there's this big push to go to 72-foot right-of-ways. Is that noted in here, or is that just assumed, or how's that get addressed?
To be honest, I'm not terribly familiar with what you're referring to. A lot of the information in this table here was a sort of a direct recognition or reflection of what Tom Fellows and the engineering staff are currently recognizing. So if there's something that needs to be potentially updated.
No, not at all. I just was curious how it was addressed. No.
Okay. Yeah, I think maybe going forward, if there is a push or a desire to change any of this, these are the kind of tables that would exist in your future updated TSP pending the outcome of your decision today. And these plans and these tables can be easily adjusted going forward, or notes can be added like they are currently at the bottom to say in certain situations where needed right away, additional right away can be required. If that's something that you think would be important to recognize here today, that's something you can discuss and we can potentially change before we finalize this.
No, not at all.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, next slide, please. So as I mentioned earlier, most modern TSPs end up with a project list that far exceeds the available funding, and this planning effort was no different. For all the projects that I think this county would like to see done within this project, we have about $415 million plus cost estimate associated with those. But the reality is the county is probably only going to have a fraction of that for capital expenditures. So we worked with county staff to kind of look at historical spending and historical funding sources and project those going forward. So Over the course of a 20-year period, we estimate the county will have something just shy of $30 million worth of funds to potentially spend on capital infrastructure investments. And so what we identified within this plan is a priority list of projects that meet or fit within that expected funding opportunity. So we broke them down into tier 1 and tier 2 priority projects. A tier 1 project just recognizes that with all the needs on the county system, these are the ones that have the highest priority, and that the county staff should be looking to try and implement over that 20-year period. Doesn't mean that any of the projects that currently exist in the tier 1 could, that exist in either tier 2 or the aspirational list couldn't move up as new grant opportunities are obtained or realized. But this is just an initial cut at what we believe to be the current tier 1 and tier 2 priority lists. And then county staff will have the ability to adjust these over time. Next slide. So what do those priority projects look like? So this is a map. It's figure 7-1 if you're looking at your individual copy of the draft TSP. And it shows all of the different projects that fall within that tier 1, tier 2 list. So as you can see, it's a mix of roadway, freight, and multimodal projects. And so we tried to give credence to the projects that the community identified as important to themselves, as well as projects that county staff recognizes that are critical to maintaining the movement of goods and movement of people throughout the county. Next slide. So just a quick breakdown. I'm not going to go through every one of these, but just kind of recognizing we tried to spread the projects out through different areas of the county. So this particular project list talks about the bridge projects. So we've got projects in the Milton Freewater, bridge projects in the Milton Freewater, the Pendleton area, and the greater Umatilla, Hermiston area. These are all projects that the county staff and others have believed are critical to kind of addressing the most critical needs of the bridge needs in the county today. Next slide. So I think Megan noted this a little bit earlier. After we initially got through the Planning Commission, it was, I think, recognized post-decision and prior to this hearing that there's a couple of changes that we felt were kind of important to recognize. So this is just a snapshot of what a potential change currently looks like and would be here for your consideration today. So with all the bridge projects, if you looked at the project description table, we've modified the language a bit here to say for project B05, for example, the description previously said replace with a pre-stressed concrete bridge. We've added the words or pursue other options if feasible and where funding allows. And I think that's a recognition of added flexibility for each of these bridge projects, recognizing that, you know, in most cases, any bridge itself is going to be a multi-million-dollar effort. And if there are other ways to address the bridge replacement project through improving regional routes in the interim, or looking at other opportunities that may not be available to us today, that gives county staff the option or the ability to be flexible and not just go straight to the challenge of physically replacing bridges if there are other options that become available. So that's some draft language for your consideration while you pondered the decision here today. Any questions on that? Okay, next slide. So these are the roadway priority projects. So we have the Pumpkin Center project, and that's a project that's Country Lane, Pumpkin Center Country Lane project. It's a project that's well under consideration with a bridge project that would span the Umatilla River, kind of making new connections between Hermiston and Power Line Road. Other projects include projects along Oregon 207 and Westland Highland Road, all in the greater sort of Hermiston area. Next slide. Intersection projects, in this particular case, this is just focusing on as a priority project, looking at a kind of a priority project that would focus on some big picture improvements to the I-82 Power Line Road interchange. I think that's an interchange that ODOT recognizes and county staff recognize as an intersection or an interchange that's undergoing rapid transformation with all the growth in the Umatilla area and continuing to serve as a backdoor to the Hermiston area. It's definitely an interchange that is experiencing some growth and needs some longer term planning that go beyond the details of a typical TSP. Next slide. And we also, oh, sorry, one more, go back. Yeah, the multimodal projects. This, I think, is a list that comes and is a direct reflection of a lot of the partnering and localized public feedback that county staff helped to complete with this project. So they include some projects along Umatilla River Road, Weston Athena, multimodal connection, and pedestrian improvements kind of in the the greater CTUAR area. And again, I think a lot of these projects came out of a lot of the tabling events and the agencies that helped partner with this TSP. Next slide. So these next slides just kind of show, once we get beyond the priority projects, the tier 1, tier 2, there's a lot of other projects and bridges that need some help and replacements over time. So this is just a quick map that shows that, yes, there are a lot of other needs, and as opportunities and grant opportunities become available, county staff will be looking to check a lot of these projects off the list as well. Next slide. So these are the aspirational roadway projects. As you can see, they span and are quite geographically dispersed throughout the county, recognizing where we have a lot of growth and a lot of needs to sustain and fulfill that growth. Next slide. So there's I think a project that was also identified that we went through the Planning Commission, and they're recognized here. It was a project under IO2. It's been changed and modified and updated in the draft, but I wanted to make sure that the Board of Commissioners understood that one of the things we asked the Planning Commission to do was recognize an error in the draft, and that was to make sure that the I-84 Oregon 207 interchange has some added description to it that make sure that it was included in the table. It was accidentally left off. So there's just a recognition that when the Planning Commission looked at this, they also adopted or recommended for your approval this change as well. Next slide, please. Aspirational multimodal projects also include regional trail and localized sidewalk or pedestrian and bicycle projects, again, also interspersed throughout the county in areas where growth and sort of local and regional multimodal improvements are needed to help give people opportunities to travel via modes not just tied to motor vehicles. Next slide. Okay, so next steps. That kind of concludes my portion of this presentation. I'll be glad to answer any more detailed questions, and look forward to going through more detail as needed. Thank you.
Any additional comments, Bob? Thank you. Okay, at this point,
Public.
so at this point, we will ask for all those in opposition to this presentation of the TSP. Seeing none, all proponents for the TSP? Any neutral comments? Comments from public agencies? Any online?
Doesn't look like it.
No.
Well, we have ODOT, I guess.
ODOT, did you have comments?
We
Carol?
just appreciate the opportunity to be involved with the project. The county staff has been working very diligently along with the consultant team to put this project together, and appreciate the involvement and all the effort.
Perfect. No proponents and no rebuttal. No, does anybody request a continuance? No. Okay, at this time, I'm going to close the public hearing and move to deliberations and wishes of the board. So any comments from the board?
I appreciate all the work. Took a long time to read, but it was good information. Thank you.
Absolutely, a lot of work. I was just trying to do how many months in my head, but I couldn't get there because it actually started before it started. So it is quite a project for sure. And now you know why it hasn't been done since 2002. But let's not let that happen. I think that it's a document that doesn't just get put on the shelf and swept away, because it is a flexible, dynamic document that time will change. And just in the matter of time of the creation of this document, we saw many changes in both transportation and modal application. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the findings.
I move to adopt the findings as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to adopt the 2026 TSP and the amendments included in it. And so at this time, let's have all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None heard. Thank you very much, and your whole department and everyone that was involved in this project, because it was monumental at the least. Now we get to start another one here soon, so how fun is that? All right, so,
Mr. Chair, before you
okay.
ask a question.
Sure.
So for clarity of the minutes, the board, I believe, has approved both the adoption of TSP as well as comprehensive and text and
Absolutely. I think if you want us to redo it, we can do it. But we did include the amendments.
just clarifying, just wanted to
Nope.
make sure the record's clear.
Yep, very, very good. Thank you very much. Thank you. And thanks to everyone that's been involved in this project. If I lost my agenda, I'm going to just play Dan Dorn here for a minute and talk my way through until I get back to my agenda so that nobody's bored in the meantime. Next up on the agenda, is a development code update, and this is a first reading. So now I will return to a public hearing and have the first reading of the ordinance update. Thank you. Megan, it's all yours.
I think Bob gave you the opening statement. That's for the last one.
At the bottom.
Sorry, you have to read it.
Not a problem. Ladies and gentlemen, I call this land use hearing before the Umatilla County Board of Commissioners to order. My name is Dan Dorn. I'm the chair of the Umatilla County Board of Commissioners. Our role today is to conduct a public hearing concerning adoption of the proposed changes to Umatilla County Development Code. I will ring the hearing by asking to summarize the application. I will then ask the applicant to testify, followed by those in favor of the application. Then any person in opposition who have questions or concerns will also have a chance to speak. If there is opposition or questions, staff may respond to them. The commissioners may also ask the staff witnesses questions throughout the hearing until the record closes. Any person with an interest in today's agenda may offer relevant and or written testimony, but please only speak when I identify you for that purpose. When you testify, please begin by clearly stating your name and address. If you represent someone else, please say so. If you have any exhibits you want us to consider, such as a copy of your testimony, photographs, petitions, or other documents or physical evidence, please provide it to me or the staff. It will be marked as part of the record. Call for abstentions, bias, conflict of interest, declaration of ex parte contact, and objections to jurisdiction.
None.
None. The agenda identifies the applicable acceptance criteria for evaluating the request. Staff will review these criteria. All testimony and evidence must be directed toward these criteria. Failure to raise an issue with sufficient detail to afford the decision-making body and the parties an opportunity to respond to the issue precludes appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals based on that issue. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Commissioners. Again, Megan Chesky, Planning Manager. Just like the last request, I'm here as staff, but also as the applicant because Umatilla County is proposing this text amendment. The purpose of this amendment is to implement several changes resulting from legislative changes to Oregon revised statutes and Oregon administrative rules governing farm and forest. Staff are also proposing changes around family child care homes and child care facilities, residential treatment facilities, and accessory dwelling units. Again, these are from the. In addition to the changes required by OAR and ORS, we are requesting numerous other sections to be clarified and or updated. Specific sections included in this update include updating EFU replacement dwellings with the zoning permit, add IRS tax return requirement for primary farm dwellings on both high value and non-high value farmland, update lot of record criteria relating to changes to 15201, add family child care homes as an allowed use with a conditional use permit in the EFU zone, update EFU and GF conditional use permit impacts test language, correct a typo for private parks in the GF zone, update EFU GF replacement dwelling criteria, and amend private park language in EFU and GF zones. We're also proposing some non-resource zone changes, and those include several definitions. So revising daycare and nursery and adding child care facility, family child care home, adding current employment of land for farm use, and minor betterment of a transmission line, and minor correction to the farm use definition, so that's referencing the correct statute. We're also requesting the replacement of Department of Environmental Quality with County Environmental Health pertaining to on-site septic, replacing daycare and nursery term with family child care home or child care facility as appropriate, add family child care home and or child care facility as an allowed use in the required zones. This is a legislative requirement in commercial and industrial zones, but excludes the heavy industrial zone. We are requesting to add a map of the depot industrial sub areas, correcting the rural retail service commercial limitations on uses, add residential treatment facilities as an allowed use in the FB10 zone. This is a legislative requirement. Add accessory dwelling unit as an allowed use FB10 zone, again, a legislative requirement. Update the flag lot standards, remove gender language from various code sections, clarify type 9 same language, and increase the maximum size limitation. That's from a result of several developments that we've seen, particularly along Highway 395 in Hermiston, where our current size restriction is prohibitive to some development. Amend the property line adjustment standards for approval to remove subsection I4. That's in order to to correct a confliction with Oregon revised statute, and then correct a statute reference in section 15277. The criteria of approval to amend the county's development code are found in UCDC 152750 through 755. Also applicable are statewide planning goals 1 through 14 in the county's policies. Notice of this request and public hearings was mailed to public agencies on July 13th, 2026. Notice is also published in Oregonian on July 8th, 2026. One thing I would like to clarify on the ADUs, so that is just in the FU10 zone in the urban growth area surrounding Hermiston. That's been something that we've had as an allowed use, it just hasn't been codified in our code. Because the county had a codified language, we have been restricted to applying the state code, which has a size restriction of 900 square feet. And what we've been told by citizens in Umatilla County is that it's very prohibitive to many people's needs. Most people want something that's larger. So we're proposing to adopt some language around ADUs in that zone. Consulted with the city of Hermiston, since it is within their UGB, adopted something very similar and proposing a maximum square footage of 15.
Can I jump in there real quick? So is there a correlation between the square footage and the size of the lot? Because I remember having this discussion. I don't know where I ended up.
There is a requirement that they have to be able to have adequate size for a septic and any additional septic needs that environmental.
That was it, yeah, they still have to.
And they still have to meet setbacks, so.
They still have to have all the setbacks, that's what it was. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
And there is a caveat there, a certain percentage of the, this thing.
That's okay. That, I remember our conversation.
So the process of approval by the county involves review by the planning commission with the recommendation to the board of county commissioners. At the July 23rd planning commission hearing, the Umatilla County Planning Commission recommended approval of the proposed text amendments with the following amendment to item number 17, ADUs. So this was something that staff had received as feedback. So number 8 reads a maximum of 1 accessory dwelling unit per tax lot, provided the tax lot already contains a single family dwelling, and then new language, and where lot size and building separation can comply with all requirements for septic. The planning commission's recommendation of approval was unanimous with a 5-0 vote. The provided preliminary findings and conclusions and the table of proposed amendments reflect the planning commission's recommendation. The board must also hold a public hearing and whether or not to adopt the proposed amendments. The board may agree with the planning commission's recommendation of approval and the text amendment and adopt the findings as presented. Alternatively, the board may modify or deny the amendments and adopt new findings. This decision is final unless timely appealed to the Oregon Land Use.
Thank you. Thank you very much. At this time, I will open the floor for opponents to this ordinance. Seeing none, proponents to this ordinance. Seeing none, there will be no rebuttal. At this time, I would request, is there any, ask if there's any request for a continuance.
No.
So we need to set a date, and that would be 9/2. Okay, I'll let you fill it. Megan, great job. All right, come out of the public hearing, back into our regularly scheduled meeting. And what is the wishes of the board on the setting the date?
I would move to have a second reading on September 2nd at our regular scheduled board meeting.
Second.
Can I ask for a friendly amendment to identify ordinance number 2026-06?
I would agree to that amendment.
Okay.
It's 6 or 7.
Land development ordinance is 6. At least on mine.
I would just say the relevant ordinance for it. either 6 or 7.
I'll accept that friendly amendment to your friendly amendment.
And I would accept.
All right. Been a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Making a big day for the planning department. Absolutely. Next item on the agenda is letter of support for the Stanfield Interchange. Go ahead, Dan.
So this is just, good morning, Commissioners, this is just the request for letter of support from discussed at the 8/17 work session back before
Wishes of the board.
I'd move approval.
Second?
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. You. Next item on the agenda is the Umatilla County Sheriff's Office purchase of ATVs. I see that. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Roland Hayes, Services Sergeant, Umatilla County Sheriff's Office, 4700 Pioneer Place, Bend, Oregon. We're interested in accepting and getting approval for a grant provided by the Oregon Parks and Recreation Department. This grant has already been approved by them. And we have equipment to surplus, which will offset the 20% match out of the 80-20 match grant. The Oregon Department of Parks and Recreation prefers that we use the nearest possible vendor for the machines that we're pursuing. I'm in the process of trying to replace all of our dated and aged equipment with Bombardier recreational product machines. Due to my experience in the industry, in contact with numerous private owners, Bombardier recreational products are superior in longevity, low cost per mile use. Appropriately priced compared to their competitors. So for that reason, I think that would be a fiscally responsible brand to get long service life, low maintenance costs. Why I'm specifically after that. We've already succeeded in a couple of purchases through emergency management and private donor. Snowmobiles, we've had exceptional performance out of those snowmobiles. I still have 2 snowmobiles to replace. Looking to do that also with Bombardier. However, this ATV purchase is also specifically for that machine, which has already been approved by the Oregon Parks. Their preference that we purchase machines from our nearest possible vendor, which is Teeter's Toys in Baker City, Oregon. We've received other competitive bids that come in at $534 less. However, travel time and distance would offset that in terms of picking up machines for delivery and also future maintenance. Approval of this grant, just through our nearest possible vendor.
Great. Questions?
I have a question. Where is Edge Performance Sports? Where are they
It's in
located?
Ontario,
It's in Ontario.
so
Okay.
that's going to add 140, a little more than 140 miles.
Yeah.
The county's purposes, we would spend that just picking up the.
And first of all, thanks for sitting down with me and going through this.
Oh, sure, no problem.
I appreciate it. One question I didn't ask is, what's the process of surplusing these, and then when those funds get returned to finance, do those go straight back to the line item?
So my understanding, these ATVs, the trailer that we're surplusing, they have unit numbers because they are county assets. However, my predecessors purchased those through the USR Foundation. They're actually search and rescue pieces of equipment. And so that funding will come back into the county's coffers. There'll be no general fund money coming from this project. This project will be supported by the OPRD and the surplusing of existing equipment.
Okay, perfect. So the funds do come back the same
They will
way.
absolutely come back.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of acceptance of the OPRD grant and the purchase of 2 ATVs from Teeter's Toys in Baker City in the amount of $19,648.94.
Second.
There's been a motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Real quick question, do we need to authorize the surplusing of that equipment too?
That's a question on that.
Okay.
I can answer on past pattern and practice. We've already done that multiple times.
Yeah, we have new policies in place.
I understand. So we do, all surplusing goes through public auction,
Right.
and then that money gets returned through that public auction.
Okay. Nope, I just was checking with the new policy. Perfect.
Typically, board would authorize a sale of assets, but if they're our foundation assets.
But he was saying these were county assets.
They become county assets. So anything that's acquired by SAR is actually retained by the county.
Okay.
So UMSAR is, as you know, is a 501c3 and is able to do fundraising and support for equipment and training purposes for search and rescue. Since integrating the offices under special services, I'm now managing the search and rescue, the marine patrol, the ATV patrol, and the snow patrol under one office, affectionately known as SARMAR. And I'm not going to pretend like it's an easy feat. It's been a good challenge. I accept challenges. So
Thank
it's
you.
been really productive in the sense that now we are having, instead of having siloed attributes and assets, we're actually able to cross-pollinate machines used for both rescue and law enforcement purposes. So in a sense, we're reducing our footprint in terms of equipment assets and increasing our footprint in providing services to citizens and preserves in Umatilla County.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You're approved.
Appreciate it.
You got Public Works purchase Thorn Hollow Bridge monitoring. As he comes off of vacation, just for the
Well, there he is. Oh. Good morning.
He's been sitting back there for quite a while.
Well, he was behind Bob.
Good morning,
I couldn't see
Tom.
him.
Tom Phillips, Public Works Director. Bet you thought you were done listening to Thorn Hollow Bridge.
No,
Not quite. So,
Wishing only made it so.
so what we have before the board today is approval for an agreement with Anderson Perry and Associates, who happens to be our consultant of record, and we have agreements in place with them for basically time and materials work consulting. What this amounts to is when we agreed to accept funding from the federal government for Thorn Hollow Bridge, we also agreed to some strings that attach to this, which means that we have to do 3 years of monitoring on fisheries and 1 year of monitoring on vegetation surrounding the bridge. And this is all tied to the NEPA process. So I contacted Anderson Perry because we don't have the tools or the capability of performing the actual monitoring. It's much easier to just have them come do it. They're familiar with the paperwork. They can go. The estimate for this is $12,000 for their services for the next 3 years.
wishes of the board.
I just have a comment. I had a big red flag on time and material basis. Are we capping it at 12,000?
No, it's an act. Our work order agreement with Anderson Perry is based on their, whatever their published fees are for the year. So if their fees go up, I mean, if their wages and benefits and their equipment purchases and whatnot go up, their fees have to go up on an annual basis. In the past, they've made annual adjustments to their, and this is just a $12,000 estimate. It could, quite frankly, it could be less than that. And in the past, any these types of basis has generally come in.
The only question I have, are we responsible, when I say we, I mean you, but are we responsible for the reporting of that, or does Anderson Perry take care of that?
the reporting is part of this. They're going to fill out the reports. They're going to do the monitoring. They'll do the inspections and check all the boxes and make sure that it's all done correctly. This is work that they do every day.
Yeah.
We,
No, I get it.
we
I
don't do
just,
this. We just don't have the capability.
yeah, I just wondered who was responsible for it. Thanks, Tom.
Mr. Chair, I move approval.
Been a motion.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is still on, and that is the Sam's Road Bridge replacement from the Dry Creek fire.
So what this is we went out for RFPs for a bridge to replace the bridge that got destroyed in the Dry Creek fire. We received one, actually only one quote on this, and this is from Spanwell Bridges. It's surprisingly a very good
Yeah.
quote, considering that they're an Illinois company. Done a little research on them. They have state and county bridges all over the East Coast in different states and counties. So it's not like they don't have some very sound history. So we left when we went out for the RFP, we wanted to retain the option of possibly doing our own guardrail or side structures on the bridge. The price that they gave us for $7,500 for the guardrail installed, we couldn't hardly buy the parts for it. We're very happy to add that option onto the total cost of the bridge. So what we're requesting is the board approval to purchase the bridge from Spanwell Bridges with the guardrail.
And I will note that this is almost exactly half of what the estimate was to begin with, so. Pretty darn close.
Just to be to be clear, the estimate would have been, the original estimate was for a 30-foot wide structure. But the traditional pricing on those structures from anybody we've ever gotten before, yes, this bridge is coming in well below what we had expected.
Perfect. Wishes of the board. Oh,
I mean, phenomenal deal, and I'm totally fine with it. I'll make a motion to approve, but just would you say for the record, I mean, and you and I have had this conversation, but why is this one so fast to get replaced versus the one on Cows Creek?
So the Cows Creek Bridge there were some different, first off, the Cows Creek Bridge, we were looking for some funding sources for that bridge. And when they didn't come in, then the bridge just didn't, even though it was closed, it didn't score well enough in the competition to make it. Cows Creek Bridge was going to be, the original estimates on that was going to be funded with money, which brought a lot of additional baggage, a lot of additional NEPA and other requirements. So that bridge, due to the design of it, the fact that it's a full 24-foot wide structure designed for higher ADT than this. This bridge only has one house on the other side. The more ADT you put on a bridge, the more the requirements for the design brings into costs associated with ADT and the loading that you would expect to see on it. This bridge is half the width. It's the same length, but it's half the width. We also didn't have to provide foundations.
Existing abutments.
That was almost, by the time it got said and done, that was about $80,000 of that cost of the bridge. We had to put new foundations. So there's just a number of things there, and the difference in the design. Federal government, so these bridges are designed and engineered, stamped for 50-ton load limits. Federal government doesn't always accept that type of a structure as a permanent structure. There's a lot of things, a lot of advantages to the Sam's Road Bridge that allows us to, I guess, bargain for better pricing.
And again, you and I have had this discussion. I just wanted, I know we're going to get hit with those questions down the road, so I just wanted to kind of have that on the record.
Yeah, and the companies that were providing us the pricing on that South Creek Bridge, they were, quite frankly, they're so booked up. Those companies are building, they're taking orders for way into next year for deliveries. So there's a lot of things that happen differently with those two bridges. It's not like.
I appreciate that. And I did tell you I'd make the motion, so I would move approval for this with the addition of the guardrails in the amount of $64,309.72.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
And Cows Creek Bridge is ordered and on the way. So
Yes.
it's going to get you.
Thank you very much.
Go enjoy your vacation.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
for sure.
you.
You've earned it.
RFP Award for Bridge. Oh.
Wait, Tom, come back.
If you do that again.
Yeah, why not? Tourism, Bob?
So, the request before you is for approval of a project overrun on the update to the Umatilla County Tourism website, Explore Umatilla County. We worked with Duquette Media to do a significant, basically starting from scratch for a new tourism website that will be used as kind of the landing page for all of our outreach and marketing. We got some really good local footage, videography, and photography of the local region, various county features that we wanted to cover, and there was a overrun of $500 on the additional 500.
The kind of cool, Colton just got a national award for his videography. Wishes of the board? Comments? Wishes of the board?
Did you know that there was going to be an overrun?
We suspected the additional footage we needed was really important to enhance the homepage. So yes, we were aware that we would be charged.
That's all I have.
I'd move for approval of the authorization of the additional 500 for the tourism.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the Morrow County IGA.
Morning, Commissioners. Jeff Morrow, Health Director for UCO Health. What we've got here, we've been working with Morrow County and OHA to administer the TRL, or the Tobacco Retail License Inspection Program across Morrow County. We do this already in Umatilla County. We now actively doing this in Gilliam County. We want to expand that to Morrow County as our inspectors are already down there. This is a small amount of additional work for us to do with some additional revenue that comes in as we complete these inspections each year. We get some payment from OHA based on the number of facilities who have their inspections completed. So this is some additional revenue to come into our inspection programs. We are anticipating that the Morrow County Board will make their decision on September 2nd. There were some delays in just kind of getting everything moving on this process. And we actually, in order to have things completed this year and receive that payment, we have to have one portion of these inspections completed by the end of September. So we're here a little early, asking for this to be considered, and we can move quickly with that. Completed before the
Thanks, Joe. Any questions?
No, I think this is a great program. Does this include vaping?
It does. They have a and it's changing tomorrow potentially, depending on how the meeting goes. But there's a set based on what they see predominantly being sold. There's a set number when the young adult inspector goes in. There's a certain number of the purchases where we try to make a cigarette purchase, or a certain number of them that maybe it's like a or a certain number that are a cigar purchase based on data that the state provides to us. And that ratio, that they're proposing some changes to that tomorrow, that the health administration.
Thank you.
Wishes of the board?
Okay. I approve of the IGA and authorize its signature when received from Morrow County.
Second.
There's been an approval and a second? Yeah. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the property reconveyance.
That's me, commissioners. This is a property reconveyance after foreclosure from taxes. The amount in question has been received from the for the taxes. Made by the immediate previous. That's
I move to adopt order TX 2026-05.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next item on the agenda is the National Emergency Management Proclamation. Read that, actually.
Please do.
If you don't mind,
how about it?
I will. Thank you. Thank you for preparing that, too. Whereas emergencies and disasters, this is proclamation order number BCC 2026-042. Whereas emergencies and disasters can occur unexpectedly, posing significant threats to life, property, and the environment. Whereas local emergency managers across all sectors, community leaders, state governments, and the Federal Emergency Management Agency dedicate countless hours to developing preparedness, response, recovery, and mitigated programs to protect the lives and property of all persons living in the United States and U.S. territories. Whereas local emergency managers across the United States and U.S. territories are charged with establishing and maintaining the capabilities necessary to effectively direct, coordinate, and support emergency and disaster response and recovery efforts. Whereas the mission areas of prevention, protection, mitigation, response, and recovery align with the core capabilities identified in national preparedness goals. Whereas local emergency managers serve the nation by responding to countless emergencies and disasters each year, demonstrating commitment, compassion, and professionalism in protecting the public. Whereas the efforts of our nation's emergency managers have helped millions of community members across the United States rebuild and rebound. Now, therefore, the Umatilla County Board of Commissioners orders and claims August 2026 is National Emergency Management Awareness Month. Umatilla County expresses sincere appreciation for emergency managers in every sector who work diligently to prepare, protect, and serve our cities and county against all hazards and risks. Wishes of the board.
I would actually think you should make this motion.
I would.
Yeah.
I would move to adopt order number BCC 2026-042, the awareness of the National Emergency Management, making August National Emergency Management Awareness Month in Umatilla County.
I would second the motion, and I'd also like to point out that our emergency manager has been doing a phenomenal job since July 15th, I believe. And he's not only him, but also Nick Vora, the emergency manager for Union County. Those two have been, I've seen them in our EOC a lot, and I really appreciate their efforts and what they've been doing with the fires.
Absolutely. Kelsey, can we get that put on our front page? We'll document on Facebook and the banner on the webpage. Next item on the agenda is.
We didn't vote.
Oh, sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Next item on the agenda, Fair Board appointment.
So this fair board appointment came about for the recommendation for this fair board appointment of Paul
McDonough?
McDonough.
It came about as we had a fair board resign, and then Nick Kennedy was placed. This would be the elect position. I don't know that I have the correct number on there.
Perfect. Thank you, Nick. Wishes of the board?
I will say that he has been an active member of the fair already and been doing a lot of work, and I think it's a great addition to the board, and I would move to adopt order BCC 2026-043.
Second.
The only issue I have is Danny is with eyes. He did an amazing job. There's been a motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Lower Columbia Basin Water Project, $10,000 commitment to authorize the county to commit $10,000 to the Lower Columbia Basin Water Committee.
I move approval.
Comments?
Second.
And a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any comments from the commissioners today? None?
Nope.
I would say I want to congratulate and thank the county staff that drove golf carts at the county fair.
Amazing.
They did a phenomenal job, and I kept getting comments all week long about how awesome they were. And I got to see firsthand how much fun the county staff was having doing it. So I think that was really good, and I really appreciate their efforts. I want to thank Jennifer Blake for putting that together.
I would like to make a comment and thank Commissioner Timmons for helping put together the housing tours and dinners that are taking place today and tomorrow. Working with Senator Nash on a very important subject here in Umatilla County.
Absolutely.
And it's always fun when Umatilla County gets held up as an example. And I know that Commissioner Timmons will carry our flag very high and proudly. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else? Meeting adjourned.